Niccolo Machiavelli isn't deemed a moral man by most. Though think to yourself, should you really blame the messenger? And of timeless wisdom at that. The Prince is the oldest book on politics ever written, and the first to separate mentioned politics from ethics. Now some of you may have heard of Machiavellism, and Niccolo would be the root of that concept. This is a very controversial book, and most suggest leaving the strategies in the past. Well, I would disagree. Me personally, I think that people should read this book and study it thoroughly. Sometimes, maybe even the usages of such tactics may be justified, but more on that later. Now we'll discuss some of the main tactics and values the book preaches. The first lesson would be that virtues like mercy, generosity, and honesty could lead to one's ruin, but vices like generosity, rapaciousness, and even cruelty could lead to one's security and well-being. So a good ruler should learn to not be very good, though Machiavelli still says to project the saintly qualities, even though there isn't a single drop of them in you. I'm interrupting this video to tell you that if you want to see more, subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when I upload the next time. Machiavelli is against liberality for simple reasons. If you need to go to war, you wouldn't have to deplete your citizens' resources in form of taxes, and being mean is what he suggests, stealing from others, pillaging their resources, and saving your own. So when push comes to shove, you have resources, or you can take them. Though for the simple man working a simple job, not being a boss or a CEO, this is going to be a rare occasion where you can employ this. Now of cruelty or mercy, and whether it is better to be loved or feared. Machiavelli states that being feared is better than being loved, with both being best, but that is a rare occasion. The reason for feared being better than loved is because when you are loved, you are dependent on others' emotions towards you. But when you are feared, they are dependent on your mercy, though again, this is going to be rarely applicable to the simple man. Machiavelli also states that mercy is a good thing to employ, but he says to not be merciful for the sake of mercy. He says to be merciful when it benefits you, because sometimes cruelty is the way to go. As one of the 48 laws of power states, crush your enemy totally. You should keep this in mind. And again, I am saying this a lot of times, I know, but this is going to be a rare occurrence. Now on to one of the more controversial parts of this book. All see what you appear, but few experience what you are. Machiavelli preaches the projection of saintly qualities onto yourself, so you should be all faith, all mercy, all honesty, all humanity, and finally all religion. Do keep in mind that he thought of these qualities, not me, as that would make me a liar. And most people will think this to be immoral, as you are lying to a person's face. But that would make most of you hypocrites, as you can definitely detect changes in yourself when you are trying to make a good first impression, for example, like in a job interview, or when you are accompanied by a person of higher power. You can definitely detect some changes in yourself, so do not hide this, but embrace it. Reputation is the key to a lot of doors. Another topic discussed in this book would be flatterers. Machiavelli says that a prince should have a few wise advisors to only tell him the truth, but all the others shouldn't. Because if everyone feels allowed to say what they think to the prince, and he will lose respect, he will be lowered to their level, which you do not want. But do keep in mind that this is a 500-year-old book, written on how to rescue Italy, so I do not know how much you need to listen to this. The last chapter discusses fortune, and Machiavelli states that fortune is a big part in one's success, but a bigger one is left up to you, as I have said in my previous video, that on mastery. Check it out after this one, of course. And now I could tell you all about it, but I think I'll just let him speak for himself. I judge this indeed, that it is better to be impetuous than cautious, because fortune is a woman, and it is necessary if one wants to hold her down, to beat her and strike her down. And one sees that she lets herself be won more by the impetuous than by those who proceed coldly. And so always like a woman, she is the friend of the young, because they are less cautious, more ferocious, and command her with more audacity. Interesting choice of words, to say the least, but we are reading his book, not mine or yours, after all. Now that we've discussed the main tactics of the prince, we can discuss the morality and the usability of such suggestions. Machiavelli does state, as I've said, that in order for a prince to rule well, he must learn to not be very good. Though, if you are not planning to be a large-scale leader or have small ambitions, That is a whole other problem, of course. This book is going to be of no use to you. So instead, I would recommend the 48 Laws of Power, because they are more suited for the simple man. If you are planning to read this book for the same reasons that I have, which are to learn more about Machiavellism, I suggest you start from the 15th chapter and skip any irrelevant chapters. Because as I have said previously, this is a letter to a ruler 500 years ago on how to rescue Italy from the barbarians. And I do not think that you need to know what to do with a hereditary principality or how to rule an army. And another thing to keep in mind would be that Machiavelli likes to create new meanings for words, or words for meanings. It's just something to be aware of. But do try to refrain from using these tactics, as they could be dangerous and have negative yields to you. For example, you do not need to be cruel over a game of Durak, but making a good first impression could have very good yields to you, because remember, reputation is a key that opens many doors, but it works both ways, because keys can also lock doors. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, let me know if you want more book content, leave any ideas you may want me to make videos on in the future, and remember the teachings of Machiavelli and my comments on them.